Cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2379. Thank you for listening today here on the show called Mike's Daily Podcast. My name's Mike Matthews, and this is Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. I'm sometimes in Podcastro Valleyton on Saturday, but today that's not really at all what we're doing. It's small. This cafe is it's kind of big. Mike's Daily Podcast. The lyrics just isn't working for me today. I can't get the words coming out. So kudos to you, Mike's, if you're a good daily rhymer podcast, because I'm out of time for my rhymes. Hey, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. So in about 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Mount Shasta. I'm going to possibly even be in Ashland, Oregon. So just letting you know, I'm going to be up there with my lovely lady friend. We're celebrating her birthday, which is coming up in 2 weeks. And we just have not been to Shasta, to Northern California in quite a while. So this is going to be wonderful. Looking forward to it. And looking forward to relaxing and just immersing myself in nature and having fun with my lovely lady friend. When we go on those trips, I see the world through her eyes and all the fun things that she loves to do, and it's a great escape for me. And then I am thinking 0% about my job whatsoever. It's completely out of my mind. So looking forward to that. But I'm sure have plenty of wonderful podcast pictures to bring you upon my return. And you'll be able to see them all at mikesdailypodcast.com. And I have been getting a couple of interesting responses lately for the show. In fact,
and here's today's podcast picture.
The podcast picture today, by the way, is from Podcastro Valley, Mont, and a beautiful sunset. I think this was from yesterday. You can see it at mikesdailypodcast.com as the sun was a-setting. Let's see. So we had somebody had made a little comment on one of the podcasts that I did on YouTube. Fabio Success said, Shasta is one of those places where you feel humbled by nature. There you go. That puts it very succinctly, doesn't it, Basil the Boxer? The late, great Basil the Boxer. What? Yes, I agree. Beautiful place. The best growl in the world. Yeah. And the last time I went to Shasta, he was with me. And he wasn't going to be around much longer, so we just had to get him up there and to see it one last time. And he got to see snow for the first time, so it was a great trip. And yes, it'll be interesting, going back to the place where he was and thinking about him. Lots of memories are going to be happening. Good memories and good times. So I'll have lots to tell you about that when that happens. So 2022 shaping up to be a interesting year. Perhaps you want to make some changes. We were talking about that last podcast about how people, they enter a new year. They want to change some stuff up. Do some things for the better. Self-improvement doesn't happen overnight. Check out these effective ways to change your life for the better. Be consistent. When you make a commitment, stick to it. That is so difficult for people. That is so... And I am not a fan of inconsistent people, and I hate when I'm inconsistent to other people. Like if I promise I'm going to be somewhere and I can't make it for whatever reason, I hate that. And I know that when I commit to something, I throw everything I got into it. So I am not so willy-nilly to promise things. I'm like, okay, This may or may not happen. I'm not going to promise it. But what I know for sure, and I know I can commit, I'm 100% all in. So it's something that's a good rule of thumb. Because if we are wishy-washy, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And it teaches, it reinforces friendships, that's for sure, and relationships. When you can show other people that you're consistent, and when you make a commitment that you stick to it. But it takes your life in interesting directions, and it puts it puts some security in an insecure world when you make a commitment, when you try to be consistent. Because this is a very insecure world, and all kinds of variables happen, and people are very variable, and you never know one day to the next what's going to happen. But if you do try to be consistent, animals love consistency. If you consistently feed them at a specific time, they love that. It makes them more loyal to you. They'll listen to you. They'll respond to your disciplinary actions better. It just makes things better. It's like a way that people know that there's a clock they can set themselves to, if that makes any sense. When you set your clock to something, you know that, okay, you're synchronized. Hey, that was the name of the last show, Synchronicity. Talking about the police. Have friends that you can talk to. Make sure you have a good support system around you, including people whose opinions you respect. You know, you can get all kinds of advice from some people, and they're telling you this and that. But if you don't respect them, it doesn't really... Or if you see, like... If somebody gives you advice on cooking, yet they are an awful cook, it's pretty much advice you don't need to follow. But if it's someone you respect and you go, I want to be where that person is, or know what that person does, what that person knows, you want to definitely, as we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, I think you need to listen to them. But definitely make sure you have a good support system around you. We can't do it alone. I was watching a show on Netflix that was based on a show that was popular, I think, in the early 2000s. The original name of the show was Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Basically, heterosexuals being shown things, how to dress, how to cook, by some experts in their field. I mean, not necessarily that being gay makes you an expert, but these guys were experts. Ted Allen, an amazing cook and brilliant with cooking in general, and he ended up hosting the show Chopped. Carson Kressley, he was just funny, hilarious. But now they got this new group of guys, and they're also very helpful. And the one thing, you know, depending on what you think about the LGBTQ, etc. community, is the fact that when these guys come into the room, there is so much positivity, and they're always dealing with people that are having really hard times, that have let themselves go, that are just about ready to keel over because they're just so... They're tired. They're exhausted. With a lot of the programs that I've seen with the new show that they do on Netflix, which they just call Queer Eye, these are usually people that are really overworked. Like they started some organization. I mean, these people that they help do amazing things, but they do so much and they overextend themselves. And the one thing I keep seeing over and over again, and I've watched the one where they're in Austin, Texas, and the one when they're in Tokyo, I think, is there are people that push themselves so hard to make sure that their organizations run and keep going. And these organizations usually help other people. And while they're so busy helping other people, they don't help themselves. And their self-care goes completely into oblivion. And what we find out over and over again is these people need to be told, these hardworking people, that these overachievers, the overachievers need to be told, you've got a group, you've got a team behind you. There are people that work for you. Use them. Utilize them. They should be there for you to help you. They're your support system. They're your team. Also, for helping improve yourself, help others. Just like these people, the overachievers on this show on Netflix, they're overachieving and they're helping a little bit too much. They forget about themselves. But if you should always remember that giving to others can give you a sense of purpose and a feeling of contribution, and can also take your mind off your own troubles and worries. And you should try to live in the present, being mindful of your current circumstances instead of constantly worrying or stressing about the past or future. If you stop doing that, if you stop stressing and worrying about the past and future, you can bring about a happier way of life. Hey, the future's going to happen whether you're in it or not. So just know that is there. And just, do the best you can. And you can't control the future. That's something, and we were talking about that in a recent podcast too. That's said in the Bible, basically. What's the verse? Jesus is talking to someone who asked him a question in this general topic and said something like, do the birds look like they're stressing out? Do the butterflies look like your heavenly Father takes care of them? That sort of verse, I'm paraphrasing. And use time wisely. Try something new, whether it's going on walks, learning new things, or meditating. Just make sure it's something you absolutely love. Use time wisely, not just playing video games. People waste so much time with that. But yeah, learn something new, something you've always been interested in. And there's just, and using time wisely, stressing about things, that's not using time wisely. The only thing that has helped me in the world of stress is if I'm really tired and I can't get out of bed, if I use that little zing of stress to, I need to get up because I need to do this, and this. But see, that can backfire on you because that can hit you like at 3 o'clock in the morning when you don't need to be awake, when you should be in bed for another 3 or 4 hours or so. Yes, all these things to think about. But tell me what you think. 336MM Daily, 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in what this podcast is. Outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Look who's here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what.
What?
I think all that's fascinating stuff and whatnot, and I just think the people need to barbecue.
Is that it?
Yeah, just barbecue, and it helps with all the stress and whatnot.
Oh, just barbecuing.
Yeah, if you just barbecue.
And if you, is that like a dry rub? Is that like, you have it in the smoker for 14 hours, that kind of thing?
Absolutely.
There you go. So you're focusing on that, and you're not stressing as much. Thank you so much, Disgruntled Fiddle Player.
Yeah, whatever.
Look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I make delicious root beer. Excuse me.
Kind of moving stuff around and creating a ruckus.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Drink my root beer. This is good.
Yum. Oh. Thank you. So is there black sesame in that?
Yeah, sure. Okay, whatever. Oh, boy.
Black sesame is this thing. If you go to a boba shop type place, they've got this thing called black sesame. It's actually pretty good. I had not really tried it. I've had like the little black sesame bars that are crunchy and delicious, but they've got an actual tea that is somehow made from that. I'm not sure how, but that's some good stuff. Okay, we're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcast Valley. Look, I'm going to tell you right now that there's this interesting thing going on in the world of, well, blame. I guess in the talk show, in the radio talk world, when you have people say things like snowflakes, snowflakes, cancel culture, they're easily offended, they don't like this and that, and they cancel it because they say it's inappropriate, but it's them making the choices, making this and the people that complain about the cancel culture, they're whining as much as the quote-unquote snowflakes. They're so easily offended by stuff. I hear conservative talk show hosts that sound like they're just... I call it the whiny white man club, because that's what it really... Oh, boy. So I'm just saying, maybe instead of all the complaining, we should do a little more work towards making it a better place living on this planet. Less complaining, less blaming, maybe a little more video gaming. I mean, it's wasting time, but you should use your time wisely, like we were talking about. The other thing I heard, which I found very interesting, somebody was discussing how teachers are being videoed by their students. And then these videos are being put on social media. To which I thought, well, how does the teacher not know that they're not being videoed? And why is this a new problem? I mean, it's not like the video camera was invented yesterday. I'm sure I could have videoed my teacher. The camcorder would have been a little bit bigger than the smartphone that fits so snugly, comfortably, conveniently in my pocket. But yet, why is that this is my thing. If you're in front of a group of students, you are like in front of an audience and you are giving a lesson. And I'm not sure exactly, I guess, the point that this person was saying, and this was on Fresh Air. So that's NPR, and can be a little bit so far off to the extreme, but it seemed like, wait, what? So now teachers are like suing students because the students are videotaping them, and they are now, I don't know. I think that the problem could just be solved by the teacher saying, put your smartphones on my desk. I don't want you filming me. I'm camera shy. I don't know why this is a big problem, but apparently this is. So I heard that, and I just had to bring it up on my podcast and see what you have to say about it. 336mm daily. 3 + 3 = 6 as the Mike Matthews Daily is, and what this podcast will try to be. I got interrupted yesterday. It's a busy Friday. Hey, there's this expression being said quite a bit called both sidesism. And I guess I don't really know what it means. It's almost like as if you can't agree with both sides, you can't agree with both the Democrats and the Republicans. You have to stick to one or the other. But that sounds more like a rule that was put in place by an extremist on either the left or the right. No. You got to be with us. If you're not with us, you're against us. But to me, that seems kind of odd in a world, in a country where, I mean, you can change your political affiliation anytime you want. It's a free country. So both sidesism, to me, when I hear that, I know it's being spoken by an extremist. And I should just ignore it. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. And to find out more ways to contact me, here's A-Frame. Oh, wow. that black sesame root beer, it's good, but it's got like a weird little aftershock, after kick that hits you about 3 minutes later. Interesting. Good job, Brewmaster.
Yeah, right.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!